and welcome to the Billowing Hilltop podcast. I'm here with Mike. Hello, Mike.
Hello, Mike.
Mike is from the Relic of the Past podcast. Mike, tell us about your podcast. Give us the overview.
Very good. Well, first off, thanks for having me on. And I'm Mike Polkinghorn. I'm the author of The Joy of Extra-Dimensional Spaces from the Candlekeep Mysteries book that Wizards of the Coast put out this last year.
That makes you like a proper actual RPG person, as opposed to just people like us who are just messing around in the margins.
Well, at least a proper freelancer, yeah. And I'm also the Dungeon Master for the Relic of the Past podcast. And the Relic of the Past is a novel-length tale that we're telling through a Dungeons and Dragons game. We do a 5th edition D&D game, and we are pretty much getting to the crux of the entire adventure after 250 episodes in 4 years.
257 episodes on the last count, which is really going some.
Yeah, I thought that maybe it would go for a couple of years, and here we are 4 years later, and we still have to do the last 5 levels.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to be an exciting ride.
It's extraordinary. We're at 95 episodes, and I feel like we've been going forever. 270 odd. It's just an extraordinary achievement. Is your story set in a particular setting?
Yes, it's an entirely homebrew world that we call Faroe, which is actually a corruption of the elves' name for it of Far. And it's almost a Tolkien-like setting, where the world has gone through the Great Mage Wars 1,000 years ago, which nearly decimated the entire kingdom. The fertile Central Valley was turned into a giant desert-like sea of dust, and life now just clings to what were used to be the hedge baronies around the foothills, which are now the main sources of civilization. And the party started out as just a collection of ragtaggle folks that all of a sudden were noticing that their world was being corrupted and destroyed. And then were recruited by a wizard named Galchabar, who has been guiding them along the way as they try to figure out what's going on that's poisoning their world, and then try to put an end to it.
And you've written this adventure.
Yeah, that's entirely out of my imagination. Yeah.
Wow. We're doing something that came out of Dungeon magazine from 2004, an adventure path called The Age of Worm. Paizo's second go at an adventure path, before Pathfinder, before Galarian, before all of that. And I find that enough work already. It must just be an immense amount of work for you. Do you produce the podcast as well? Do you do the editing and stuff?
Yeah, I end up doing most of it, and the social media as well. So it's
wow.
And you're very active on social media.
At Relic of the Past on Twitter, is that right? Where else can people find you?
We're pretty much available anywhere, either as Relic of the Past or Relic of the Past podcast. You can find us all over the place.
Great. So it's 5th edition. It sounds like a really intriguing game world, an intriguing setting, a fully homebrew. Readers, there are hundreds, literally, of episodes for you to get your teeth into. So a really interesting prospect. And how long have you been playing D&D for, Mike? I mean, how did you get into it?
Well, Junior, let me tell you about the old days. I started playing back in 1979. My parents got for me the Dungeons & Dragons coloring album because I knew I liked the fantasy and science fiction and so forth. And we started playing with that coloring book and had a kind of a stripped-down version of the game in it. And the thing just took off from there. One of our friends got the basic set, and then we got the AD&D books, and away we went.
Well, there you are. So, Mike, you and I are of the same generation. So you've played through all the editions. You've played through, basic and AD&D and everything?
Yeah, so we were playing basic and then AD&D, and back in those days, the two of them kind of blended together.
Yes, exactly.
A lot of times we didn't care which version of the rules we were using as long as we were playing. I got into 2nd edition and 3rd edition for just a little bit, and that's where I dropped out of the picture for a while. I was a senior in college and was doing my thesis and doing field work and all that stuff, and then I graduated, and this was back in the late 80s, early 90s, and so the internet wasn't around. So when I moved to a new city to start a job after college, there was just very little way to meet people. And then had children of my own, and my oldest son one day when he was still in elementary school said, "Hey, Dad, do you know anything about this Dungeons and Dragons stuff?" And we jumped right back into 4th edition and kept playing from there.
The rise of online gaming platforms, virtual tabletops, I think has transformed the way that gaming groups stick together because our experience was very similar. Although I still prefer to sit around a table, but
it's always best to be sitting around everyone together if you can at all help it. Obviously, the last couple of years, we had to go remote 100% because of the way the world was.
I think D&D has kept a lot of people going through the pandemic.
Yeah, a chance to actually meet other people, even if virtually, yes.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much for telling us about the Relic of the Past podcast. Where can people find it? On the usual platforms?
Yep. So you'll find us wherever the podcasts are served, and you can find the main page at Pool Media, Poole Media at podbean.com, and that's where all the pictures are and all the episodes and all that stuff. You can find all the history right there.
You don't publish stuff like in the background, do you? Just like most people should do. Like we don't.
Yeah, well, we've kind of cheated there because, a lot of times I'll like sketch out what a city or something looks like from a distance and put that up so my players can see what it looks like. And then I'll just, take a picture and put that up on the website. And then also there's, little articles about all the homebrew rules that we've monkeyed around with and things like that.
Wow. Okay. You're making me feel inadequate, Mike, but there we go. Well, there we are. Thank you, Mike. Thanks for coming in to talk about Relic of the Past. Dear readers, hello, readers. Thanks for listening to our silly show. We're always grateful for any ratings or reviews you give us on your podcast app of choice, be that Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever Lucas's weird one is, Beyond Pod. You can find us on Twitter at Billowing Hilltop. You can find us on Facebook. And of course, you can always email us at hello@billowinghilltop.com, and we will find something productive and non-obscene to do with your message. Otherwise, I have no news or information. Let's push on. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for having me on.
Let's push on with episode 95 of the Billowing Hilltop podcast, Our Friends Electric.
We're off to see the wizard.
The wonderful Wizard of Lucas.
The Wizard of Lucas.
The Wizard of Lucas.
Right.
I have never played a
wizard.
wizard in years. Okay, that's an interesting one. Next character.
Hesti's in a sphere of electricity or something.
Oh, yes.
Oh, it's all business with Johnny. I was going to just chill for a bit and just get myself
Hesti
set.
Testapod,
But there we go. Good evening, everybody.
Hesti Testapod, best in the land.
I'm here with Dan and Graham, Johnny and Paul, and Dr. Eusebio Spider Lucas.
I haven't
Hello.
arrived yet. I'm not here.
Oh,
Good evening.
I need to do the thing with the
Thing.
Dungeons and Dragons, don't we?
Dungeons and Dragons.
The thing with the
The
game
Dungeons
with the
and
people.
the Dragons.
The Dungeons and the Dragons, the game with the peoples. Where were we?
We were in a dungeon.
We were.
We were
in the
in
Tomb
a
of Icosial.
dungeon, Mike.
I think we need to...
Michael.
I'm just wondering
My vision has
Michael.
come true.
if we...
Your secret mission.
We were in a dungeon.
Is it something's happened to Dan? Can somebody check on Dan?
Michael.
Should I do a quick zip about of where we are and what you've got as options, what you've done? What do you want?
We just took a long rest, didn't we? And
took a
obviously
long
I just realised we attuned to the ring.
Hey?
The Sphere of Annihilation ring. Johnny obviously attuned while we took a long rest.
The ring? Oh, you mean the
Is it a ring? I don't know what it is.
No, it's not a ring. The talisman of the sphere.
Yes.
It's like a rod
which you just
with
gave
a
away was the
silver
talisman
hook
of the
thing
sphere.
at the end of it.
Yeah. Obviously, I just attuned to it while we took a long rest.
No. What?
Who owned
I don't know that we firmly established who attuned to it, but I can tell you now, whoever attuned to it, apart from taking up an attunement slot.
I have it in my possession, and we were discussing attuning to it, but I haven't done so yet.
I think so too. I think that's where we got to. In order to
Before
see
you
whether or not
start
you might
rewriting history.
control...
I think, to be honest, we didn't actually even discuss it. I think, to be perfectly frank, we completely forgot about it and took a long rest without actually thinking about attuning. Which is why I just said what I said.
Yeah, it's not come up since your encounter with the room with the giant
Because we moved on from there very quickly, so we didn't
ooze
feel
pudding
the
thing.
need.
But you did consider attuning to it to see whether or not that would, it would be relevant.
And then
But
we moved
you never
on
got
very
that far.
quickly down the ramp.
Down the ramp into the chamber with the spider. You followed the spider into the spider's sort of shadow version of the world that you were in. Its larder or lair or part of it or something. Anyway, you followed it there. You fought a version of it in the shadow world and you followed it back because you managed to basically scare it enough that it fled back to the real world. The moment you followed it back through to the Kodachrome world, it then fled again back into the shadow.
That was
As you've been
rather
left
annoying.
Back where you started, you've opened up a couple of doors that led off the spider's chamber. 3 doors, in fact. One to the south led to a room with an altar and a weapons rack, a rusted suit of armour, a couple of nooks in the wall, one of which held a statue of what you think must be Icosiol, a very high-status wind duke. The other door led to the north. Double doors. They opened out to reveal a river of what appears to be blood, thundering past. Then you opened the double doors at the top of the stairs. They led you into a chamber with a carpet and some other furniture and bits and bobs. You opened a door to the south and you revealed a circular or a mostly circular chamber with a depressed floor, Floating in that chamber is a ball of lightning, arcing down into this floating sphere of lightning from the ceiling, from a spike set into a stone block on the ceiling, are sparks of electricity. Slightly reminiscent, actually, of the crackling green energy beam that you found in the shrine of Chios under the arena star. On your left, just through the door, there is a metal plate. On the metal plate, there's a big dial with the arrow of law inscribed onto it, pointing straight up. And set into the arrow of law design, there's a little keyhole. Final detail, floating, as it were, in a state of what seems to be suspended animation, wearing an absolutely tiny dressing gown, is the figure of Hesti Testapod. He's just dangling there, his limbs hanging limp.
Ooh.
He is holding in one hand what looks like a rod or staff of some kind. Doesn't look like, before everybody jumps on me, doesn't look like anything to do with the rod of 7 parts. In his other hand, he is holding a stone object about the size of a biscuit tin. Somebody give me an intelligence check. People looking into this room, by the way, are Alessandra and Uncle Buggy. The others everybody else is sort of hanging back.
Okay.
Oh dear. A 9.
No, okay.
Intelligence check of
And Buggy gets a
16 for Buggy, 12 for Alessandra.
Buggy. All I'm really doing is just checking to prompt your memory. When you were looking into the little chamber that led to the south of the big spider room,
Yeah.
there was a couple of nooks. One of them had clearly had an object set in it that had been moved.
Which was the size of a biscuit tin.
Yes, precisely. The object that he's holding also resembles, well, more than resembles, apparently is the stone object being held by the image of Icosiel that was triggered when the magic gases rippled over the walls in the statue chamber and the level above you, if people can recall any of that.
Yeah.
Readers,
They can.
you'll be able to remember this. It looks like that. A seal, but not a seal. A seal of office.
This is a shame.
A seal of authority, right?
That'd be
Like a
much
kind
more
of-
fun.
No, we're never
It would
going
be,
to
though.
survive.
Yeah.
And where's that keyhole
Sorry,
again?
I'll shut up
It's
now.
inset into the arrow design on the giant dial, which is set into the metal plate, just inside the door to your left.
Okay, so that's probably something's associated with the spider.
The spider had a key on it, didn't it?
Yes.
We shouldn't have fought it. We should have just grabbed the key off it,
Well,
stuck it in
that-
there.
Could be to do with it. I mean, it's all looking a little bit standard D&D, isn't it? It's like you've found
Yeah.
a thing, you need a thing
So
to do the thing with the other thing.
So,
Buggy, Buggy, what are you going to do?
Wait for the spidey.
That's a thought.
You could do.
What do you reckon, Locus?
do I have any reaction given the fact that I'm just seeing the thing that I saw in the vision? Is there any kind of...
Vision?
It does resemble... Oh, yes, of course, we've not got into this, have we?
No.
It's what you remember from the vision you saw in the pool in the cave above Diamond Lake.
Right.
Really?
Yep. I mean, it's exactly what you saw.
This room?
Although you don't remember the specifics about
Yeah.
things like, for example, in the vision, you don't remember what the figure of Hesti was holding in its hands, but
So this room was in your vision?
it was.
Yeah.
And all this time you haven't told us?
But he has.
I told you like 3 times
Yeah.
I've mentioned it, and every time you've all been like, "Oh, we've got more interesting things to talk about. We don't want to know." So
Yeah.
anyway.
Oh, all right, then we've got more interesting things to talk about. I don't want to know.
I don't know that it was quite that negative, the reaction.
No, we can-
Lucas,
You
but
know what I
yes.
mean? It was.
No, probably.
It was,
Sorry, you're more formal. Dr. Eusebio Spider Lucas.
Let's
Just-
ask Sessions what to do.
I'm just thinking now that
He
I actually
guides us.
see it in real life, does that give
No,
me any
it's
kind
not
of
like,
sense of
oh,
deja?
I remember from the vision that
deja
all I
vu.
had to do was...
Yeah.
No,
There's no
Okay.
triggering.
haven't I seen you somewhere before? No, it was... It was... There were no clues in the vision about what
Right.
to do next,
Okay.
and there's no immediate, obvious
Yeah.
course of action for you to take now that you've seen your vision.
Sessions, what are we doing?
If you remember, though, Parker, when you saw what you saw and nobody else saw it, Hesti told you not to tell anybody else.
Yeah.
So Hesti clearly didn't know what you had seen. You didn't tell him at the time. Yeah.
Can I
Never tell me the future.
check for some traps
Right.
before we go into this?
Why are we
room?
going in here? We don't have the key.
But we can check for traps.
I'm sorry about the figure that I've used for Hesti Testapod, by the way. I was running out.
What brought the spider round the first time?
It did.
It just
We
appeared.
didn't step
It just
into
sort
one of
of
those
wandered
grid.
in. You did. You disturbed its web filaments in the main chamber.
Do you want to do that again, Johnny?
Let's do that again, shall we? This time we just got to grab the
Grab the key.
key, and then how do we stop it attacking us again?
You hold it, I'll hit it.
It won't have regenerated, will it? It might have gone back up.
Well, you've had a long rest.
So it will have had a long
What
rest
happened?
as well.
What was going on, Graham? What's going on with you with the weird eyes?
I don't know what was going on. I wasn't there.
Oh, you didn't do any spells? Interdimensional spells?
No, I just stood around in the room waiting and then decided I would shuffle off. And then you guys started to reappear.
So what was all that about then?
Good question.
Yeah, presumably some kind
What
of
was all what about?
evil projection of one's...
Well, I'll explain the
It was an
situation.
evil version of you.
Yes. Projected
Well,
into
it
that,
looked like an
into
evil
the
version. We
netherworld.
don't actually know it was an evil version. We're just assuming it was evil.
Maybe there are evil versions of all of us on the Shadow World.
To be honest, none of you are 100%
Maybe
sure.
just the most powerful one
That
came
you're all
first
who
and the
you say
weaker
you
ones
are.
come
Oh,
later.
that's a good point. We're
Yeah.
back there, are we, Mike?
You should
Yeah.
have seen me then.
All I'm saying is that it's never been absolutely established, has it?
You know,
Certain people seem very keen to only talk to me in the broom cupboard about quite a lot of stuff. You should see the emails I get from some of you. Bloody hell.
some people
I mean,
don't need
filth.
to be on the Shadow World to be evil, eh?
So what's
We
the
got-
plan, guys? Are we just going to wait for this spider to come
So
back?
we can either try and trigger the spider, get the key, put the key in, or we can investigate this room without the key. I'm happy to see. If,
I mean, there are other options.
well, then we can go and see other things, but
Has anyone been in the room at all?
no.
I think that might be a
check.
start.
I'm assuming that everybody's standing at the threshold, that they're not kind of
Yeah,
taking it.
I was going to do a perception check to see if I can spot any traps or anything like that before I go in.
Let's start with that. Why not? See if
Okay.
you can see anything obvious.
27. Can I see anything obvious?
I mean, the entire room screams electricity danger to you, Paul, in a way that I don't think you really needed to make a perception check to establish.
it's the perception check's more about.
Well, let's take that number as more of an investigation check, or a combination of the two. I think those two skills are a bit confused anyway. No, you cannot see any obvious mechanisms, connections, I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever.
So there's not.
But it just
Pressure
tells
pads
you,
on the.
no, you can't see anything like that. You can't see anything that says.
Here's a trap.
But on the other hand, there's a crackling energy lightning arc running from a spike in the ceiling into a floating globe of lightning.
Yes.
Which to me says,
Danger.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's get.
Take my clothes off and go for a
Make
swim
an
in the Red
Arcana
River.
check on that.
Let's
energy.
get wrapped up in tinfoil and dunk ourselves in water and then run into the room.
Okay. Well, into the blood river. Jump into the blood river.
Yeah. Go for
Wrap
it,
ourselves
swim.
in tinfoil.
Mike,
Yes.
does it look like this sphere is being powered from the spike in the ceiling?
Ooh, very possibly.
So potentially, if I did a wall of force over the spike, I could interrupt the flow of electricity.
You
the flow
might
of
be able
energy.
to do that. Yeah.
You can do a wall of force.
I can do a wall of force.
Yeah.
You're a bard.
Yes.
Bloody ridiculous. Bards shouldn't be allowed to do walls of force.
You wait until next level when I decide to take haste. You're not going to like that a lot, are you? Right. I think I should.
Because you all begrudge each other your new powers and achievements.
Wall of force is
Just
fifth
the most
level, isn't it?
unhealthy way
Wall of force
possible.
is 5th level, yeah.
Haste must be third.
3rd.
Oh.
Yeah. Or is it 4th? I don't know, but I'm going to take it next level.
Yeah.
Turn myself into a hand-to-hand fighting machine along with my super spellcasting, just to annoy Johnny.
So you can go up front then.
Well, you know. Okay, so shall I do a wall of force over the spike to try and... it's not going to work, is it? Because that's kind of circumventing the room.
Well, give it a go.
It's a 5th level spell. I've only got 2 of them.
So, that's what they're there for.
Is it?
To use.
Did we establish if there's anything on the other side of the Red River?
There's a little apron of attractive sandy beach
On this side.
on this side. And then the far side of the river, it's just a wall of rock.
Can I make an Arcana check to determine whether I think a wall of force will work on this thing?
You think that you would interrupt the flow, the arcing of the electricity between the spike and the...
Yes, but
Look,
does it
you
look
think- assume-
like the spike is powering the...
Like I say, it could very well be. But I mean, I think... I mean, make your Arcana check, but I don't know that you have much to go on here.
Well, do I recognise this is some kind of evocation magic, is it?
You would have thought so. You know that the Wind Dukes were masters of the elements of lightning and wind and the air. So
really wanna
it
waste
would
a fifth
definitely
level spell
fit
if
with
I
your
can avoid it.
understanding of the Wind
None of
Dukes
us have actually
kind of
gone in the room yet, right?
wheelhouse. Nobody's been in the room, no, not yet.
And the stairs that extend beyond, are they going down?
The walls on the far side look a bit more rough-hewn and a little less architected. I don't know if that's a real word. And yes, they seem to go down, and it's dark on the other side. They seem to drop off, as in you can see the walls on either side continue. In fact, I think you can see a little bit more than I've shown you. Just give me a moment here. You can actually see. I'm going to be careful about what you should infer from what you can see. But the stairs seem to drop away, and you can see a wall about 10 feet past the last step that you can see from your vantage point. It may open out to the left, difficult to tell.
Just so we understand, it stares down into the room and then stares down away from the room at the far end. Is that what you're describing?
Mike, I'm going to try a wall of force. Hemispherical wall of force over the spike against the ceiling.
That's a ridiculous spell.
What is?
Wall of force.
Why?
Nothing can physically go through the wall. Immune to damage. Can't be dispelled.
Are you jealous?
Well, yeah, but it is concentration.
I don't know. I don't think Bard should be casting that.
Right, well...
Old school curmudgeon.
It should be a wizard.
Why?
A wizard.
Right.
It's a powerful spell.
Okay. Well, we'll take your comments under advisement.
Yeah. And then ignore them.
Bards are a support character. They shouldn't be doing primary spells like that.
I wouldn't use the word ignore, Dan. We shall
disregard.
Well, it'll go into committee. Casting a hemispherical wall of force anchored to the ceiling around the spike interrupts the crackle of electricity. It starts instead vandergraphing against its new
It's a plasma ball.
Hopefully it's not the thing that's keeping him alive.
The globe of lightning persists.
Right.
And is seemingly unchanged.
Does anything happen to Hesti's demeanour, or...?
Absolutely nothing. Nothing seems to change at all.
Curses.
Sorry. I have to work with the guidance I'm given, and the guidance I'm given is that it doesn't seem to affect the integrity of the globe.
Should we go after the spider and the key?
Well, how do we go after the spider?
Disrupt the filaments again, see if it arrives.
Yeah, okay. I've just burnt a 5th level spell. Can we have a long rest?
We found something out. Do you want a long rest now?
You'll have to wait. You've had a long rest today. So your next long rest is available to you after midnight.
Well, is there any way of just freezing the spider or holding it while we just grab the key? We don't really want to fight it, do we? Because it's nasty.
Has anyone got dimensional anchor, Graham?
That's a good idea.
Can you take it?
I don't know. Good question. Let me consult.
Michael, while they're discussing what they are going to do, Alessandra's going to head back to the River of Blood.
Oh, yes.
She's going to go
don't
through
think
the double
so, Dan.
doors, and then she's going to just poke her head a bit further in and make her way to the right along the wall.
So she's going to turn right, walk along the little strand of sand, the little beach.
Being very careful. I'd like to roll some perception checks just to see.
Yeah, or an investigation check.
Ooh, doesn't look like it's 10. A spell anymore, actually.
I would say you don't see anything to give you pause. You don't see anything to...
I'll make my way in a little bit. I'm kind of hugging the wall, going to the right, just so I can see further along.
Yeah.
So I can see quite a bit further.
60 feet, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can see, to your right, the river runs into, as it were, a cavern or a passage. I mean, it's a tunnel.
Yes.
And seems to split north and south, like a little fork in the...
Yeah.
Let me show you what you can see.
It's a bit like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, but instead of chocolate, it's blood.
It is kind of a bit like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. That's exactly right. The northern branch...
Northern branch?
Yeah, the northern branch.
Here we go. Crap northern accents.
Yeah. Seems to...
Why?
At a certain point, at the point where actually the flow divides... Where it heads north,
is it more foamy in the north side? Has it got a bit of a head on it?
Seems less. It's friendlier for starters. The current seems less strong. Maybe that leads off to a sort of cul-de-sac or to a still area because it looks like there are eddies in the current.
Okay.
They say hi, and it looks like the flow may be kind of more turbulent around that divide.
Okay. I want to have actually a closer check at this blood. I want to kind of
taste
closer to it. Does it smell? Is it hot? Is it cold?
It's cold.
It's cold.
It's very cold. It's a lot colder to your right, to the east. Quite noticeably so, actually. In fact, you're almost surprised that this river is flowing as fast as it is, because it really is very cold off to your right. You think it's probably... Give me an intelligence check. Have you got a relevant skill?
What kind of
alchemy?
I've got
that kind of stuff.
An arcana.
Just knock one out for me. Just bash out an intelligence roll.
All right. +1 on this. Oh no, 8. Rubbish.
As far as you can tell, it's water.
Water. So that...
I mean, it's
obviously
very
not...
It's very bloody. Right? It looks a lot like blood. But actually, looking at it, It doesn't seem to be quite as viscous as you would expect blood to be.
Maybe we need somebody else to come in who can do a higher intelligence check.
It might just be red water.
Yeah.
But you're no expert,
no.
As we've just established.
I will float in and have a look.
On the sweepstake?
Yeah.
Okay. What, you're going to make a similar roll?
Not very good at these. No, all looks red to me.
Again, with your 5, you're not able to add very much to the discussion. The two of you are standing there. Alessandra is looking at this river.
It's very red water. It's like...
And you go...
and cold here. It's quite cold here.
It's cold.
Cold and red.
Have you noticed it's flowing faster in one place than it is another, but it's very red water.
I think with my 5, I probably failed to notice it's flowing at all.
Who are you?
Okay.
In that case...
Well, that was boring. I'll head back.
Yeah, that was...
That is not exactly the Discovery Channel, is it? Let's head back to the others.
Let's head back to the others.
Whoosh.
Do we still have spider filaments?
You do still have spider filaments, yeah.
Shall I twang a few?
Yeah, go on.
You want to twang a bit?
I'm going to twang.
In that case, I'll go around here.
Oh, I see. Notice people's miniatures seem to be moving very rapidly into different places. Okay.
I shall walk into the spider room from the opposite corner to where it appeared from originally, and I shall twang a filament.
You can twang away, and nothing seems to be...
Nothing happens.
I mean, it's very difficult. Let's not speculate. Dr. Spider Lucas, what do you think is going on? Well, I think that speaks volumes.
If it is the real Eusebio Doctor, Eusebio Spider
Eusebio
Lucas.
Barely complimented at this point, is he?
No,
You all right there, Lucas?
I'm fine.
Paul, do you have, like, roguish abilities?
Lucas says, I'm fine, in just such a way calculated to communicate the fact that he's not fine.
I'm fine.
I'm fine.
Sorry, Graham, what was that?
Could you, pick the lock of the key thing?
Highly unlikely.
I could give it a go. I shall make my way over to the lock.
I will cast guidance on you.
Oh,
Let's talk about this wall of force.
Yes.
Does it have a set duration?
10 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah.
And you're going to stand there concentrating on it?
May as well, until there's something else to do.
What's the purpose of picking the lock when the door is open?
No, the
Well,
lock we think is controlling the lightning.
I'm not sure that your appreciation of the situation is 100%
No,
up to you,
obviously
Xavier.
not.
Yes.
Clearly not related to the door. There's a great big dial set into a metal plate on the wall just inside the door.
I missed that.
Inset into the dial is a keyhole.
I see, I'm really not with it
What
tonight.
an amazing room.
Who would live in a room like this?
Should we search the room? Search this room
Yeah,
we're
I'm
in?
gonna...
Start searching the room.
Yeah,
Who's searching the room?
Buggy is searching the room at the top of the
Buggy and...
stairs.
What?
The room with the carpet in it.
Oh, that
The
room.
one we're in, yes, the carpet one.
There's a small statue of an armoured wind duke, his left hand resting on a sword, his right hand held up to shield his eyes. That statue seems to be made of gold, with sparkling blue gems for eyes. There's a beam of bright light shining onto the statue from above, seemingly from nowhere. The walls are carved with bas reliefs of Wind Duke servants bowing and soldiers saluting, and there's an elaborate carpet covers the floor, but it is badly worn and the colours have faded. Only small patches of the complete pattern remain.
Have we looked beneath the carpet?
Nobody's looked under the carpet.
Let's roll up a bit of the carpet.
There's floor underneath it. Purple has cast Detect Magic in this room and did not detect any magic.
Yeah, that's correct.
So, you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. You know,
Search the walls.
great
Search
bloke.
the walls.
I mean, really, a great guy. Yeah, give me
North
some
wall,
give me
east
some
wall.
investigation checks. Let's abstract it. Just give me a set of investigation checks for all of you. While you spend a little bit of time checking out this room. Let's have a look at the numbers that we get. We've got, I can see some
19 from sessions.
Nothing. There you go. But we've been through the the
18.
mechanical process of you rolling dice to represent the fact that I could have just told
Okay.
But I can now tell you, now that you've rolled some dice, that there's nothing.
Okay, so you're going to have a go at this dial thing.
Yeah, I'm going to attempt to pick the lock. What were you going to...
I was going to cast guidance on you, so if you attempt an ability check,
Yeah,
you get some bonus. You
That'd
get
be
to
nice.
add a d4.
and I'm rolling at +7.
And tell me precisely what you're doing.
Trying...
Are you stepping into the chamber?
This is... Look at... we're just seeing...
Yeah, again,
Roll 20.
the miniatures,
The miniatures are scurrying
of
for
the
cover.
other members of the party, dear readers, are all being moved very rapidly away from where this is happening. Or are you leaning from the threshold of the room in and sort of craning round to try and address this mechanism?
Does somebody want to... if we get a rope, does somebody...
I'll
Buggy,
step into the chamber first if we need to test
Brilliant.
this out.
There we go. You go and step in the chamber first, and I will wait.
Parker.
I'll wait around.
He's going to step into the step onto the steps.
Yes.
You're heading down into the room.
I'll wait around the corner.
I'll start going and having a look round the walls.
I love this.
The moment that you do so, Parker.
Love this.
Thought so. There we go.
Fearless.
The spike on the ceiling crackles into life and delivers a shockingly large bolt of lightning at the inside of the wall of force. You feel that the inside of that wall of force has basically
saved your bacon.
Saved you from turning into bacon, in fact.
Green bacon.
Green.
Oh, well done, Dan.
Green bacon.
Well done, Dan.
Yeah.
Unsmoked bacon. There you go, Dan.
The moment
Did
you
I not
stepped
mention
in,
that I stopped concentrating on it? Sorry. I forgot to mention.
Not too late, Dan. I mean, you've got an instant now where you could,
I mean, it's gross. Bards shouldn't have spells.
That's
gross.
True. Let's imagine that I don't have it. Yeah, I'm really sorry. I couldn't do that.
I think Johnny's right.
Yeah.
Dexterity save.
I think in good conscience. It's in the rules, but
Yeah.
you've got to also be led by your heart. What does your heart tell you?
Parker, you're just a punch bag, basically, aren't you?
That's basically.
Anyway, Parker is fine.
Parker treads where
Dan's
others fear.
spell
Yeah.
has protected him. But clearly, there was a relationship between standing in the room and this electricity spike monster thing. Not monster.
Oops.
Sorry, inadvertent.
In which case,
Right.
I'm going to step up to the lock and try and pick it.
Step up to the lock. Yep.
Now I've moved in, I will continue to search around the walls while.
Well, if you're in the room, every
round,
every six,
weirdly, yeah,
every six
every
seconds.
6 seconds, yeah,
Yeah.
every 6 seconds, this spike goes bonkers and starts crackling out arcs of energy, which you both feel would be aimed at yourselves, but for the fact that the wall of force is protecting.
Lovely.
Parker, you can start searching around.
Don't stop
No
concentrating, Dan.
Session starts tickling Val.
Should we start with Parker or Alessandra?
Alessandra's going to roll her check to pick the lock.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good roll.
Yeah, it's a very good roll.
So that's a 27.
You feel that you have been faultless in your mechanical execution of the technique required to pick the lock, yet
Nothing changes.
you have been unsuccessful. Your sense is that you were never going to be successful, that there's probably some kind of arcane component to this mechanism that you are unable to affect.
Okay, well, we're learning. We're learning stuff.
We now
That's
know
good.
we do need the key thing.
Yeah.
Parker,
Going to step back out again.
what are you doing? Doctor Eusebio.
Well, while this wall of force is still being protected, I'm going to go once around the walls of the room and search and see if there's anything.
Why don't I tell you what you can see when you get to the far side of the room, because there's
That would
nothing
be
else.
interesting.
I think I'll come with you.
There is a staircase.
How many rounds
You
have
can
I
see
got?
Hesti Testapod, by the way. It's definitely Hesti Testapod. I mean, you can get right up,
Well,
like aquarium style. You can peer into the globe and see his
Testapods.
bearded,
Is he in some
barely
kind
covered
of
form.
trance state?
Is he
I assume
breathing?
he
Be
hasn't
very careful, by the
registered
way,
our
where you
presence.
stand. Otherwise, you might get a bit more. You might get a full view of the testicles.
Are the testicles twitching? Or is there any signs of him
Does he look
breathing?
happy or sad?
I mean,
Is he pleased to
that's
see
how
us?
you know that he's definitely under the influence of some kind of ensorcelment, because the testicles are entirely immobile,
Ah,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
They're normally so active,
like a dog's tail.
bouncing around.
They are how you
Happy
yeah,
little things.
exactly. A little cheery duo. But no, nothing is moving. But Parker, you can peer at the globe, either one of them, and nothing is going on. The staff that he's holding looks like the staff that you've seen him holding before. You think it's just his kind of wizards, whatever.
Does he look like he's in pain? Or does he just look like he's immobile?
He doesn't look like he's in pain. His features are frozen at a moment of extreme shock, surprise.
Electrocution.
Possibly. He's in a state of stasis, not unlike the apostolic scrolls as they sat on the altar in the shrine of Chios.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to head down the stairs.
Which stairs?
The further
On
stairs.
the other side?
On the other side.
Ooh, it's interesting on the other side,
And I'm going to
Alessandra.
look around the...
When you say head down the stairs, perhaps you want me to describe what you see when you get to the top of the stairs before you get too confident.
Go on then.
We wouldn't get into one of those situations where it's like, oh, well, if you tell me,
never have done that.
What?
But never.
There are stairs leading down, and they end at a pit. It's a 5-foot, quite steep set of narrow steps.
Yeah.
I'm presuming that you've not stepped onto them.
No, well, I'm flying, you see, so that's okay.
Are you flying?
Well,
I don't want to be the bookkeeper here, but you flew out of the...
Yes, have we had a rest since then?
A long rest.
Oh. No, I've got another 2 hours before I can use them again.
So you're not flying, but you're also not on the steps.
Yeah.
They run quite sharply down, but from where you are peering at the top, craning over to see further, your dark vision tells you that the floor at the bottom of the steps is 40 feet below the bottom step.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, okay. Good to know.
And it is sparkling with an intricate pattern of scarlet tiles that create a swirling mosaic. There might as well be a big, rotating red light.
Don't fucking go
that
here.
A klaxon going... But hey, I don't write this stuff.
No. Okay. All right.
No, we haven't finished. If you want something that's really going to sound like you shouldn't be going there, a set of metal rungs protrudes from the wall just below the stairs.
Right. Won't be using them anytime soon.
You can also see that there are 2 hallways that extend out of the room at ground level as you peer down at this pit. Obviously, you can get down there using these ladder rungs, and at the bottom it seems to open out and split a northern fork and an eastern fork. That's what you can see.
Right, okay.
Shall we move on through to there? Or
No, I think we need to get this bloody key sorted.
Yes.
I think that's the only thing to do. I'm going to head back out into the carpet room, north to the carpet room.
Parker, are you hanging around in the lightning
No,
room?
I'll come back out again now.
Okay. And what are you, twanging some strands?
I think we need to. Should we all go into the spider room and twang some strands?
I think we can roll forward a little bit. You don't seem to be able to summon the spider through a...
He was also upstairs, wasn't he?
Concerted twanging. The spider did appear upstairs, yes. When you first arrived, the spider appeared and then vanished off again into a little funnel of darkness.
Why don't we go back up?
Yeah.
Get the Sphere of Annihilation. Sort out the room upstairs.
Yeah.
And maybe more rooms upstairs.
Yeah.
And then, basically, I think the spider is probably recuperating, so it will come back when it's refreshed.
Yeah.
So I think
that sounds like a good idea to me.
we do that.
Okay.
Be my vote.
Right, going back upstairs.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Heading up the slope?
Yep.
You close the door behind you on the room with the giant what's it in it?
With the gloop.
With the gloop.
The black
Are
pudding.
you collecting yourselves around that door?
The gloopy room.
We don't seem to have Uncle Buggy with us.
Sorry. There you go.
Doesn't seem to be in the front.
I will hang back. Let the
Divine
primary
front.
fighter go at the
You're
front.
at the rear front.
Right, okay. Is the door clear? Have you done your bit, Paul?
Done my bit.
Well, you're going... Johnny's been asleep, hasn't he?
Yep.
Big
I did
time.
doze off a bit.
Yes, big time. You don't know where they're going. They're going back.
I missed all that bit down the other end, sorry.
You certainly did.
I know.
They're heading back, Johnny.
Yeah.
Back through the
Okay.
door that you've already been
So,
through.
just to...
I thought your chin had
Bit
just dropped a
quiet,
bit. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm at the front.
That's not the front, though, Johnny.
Where is the door?
We're not going that way.
Let's move maps. You don't know how things stand, but as you left it, you'd banished this giant black pudding thing, whatever it was, off to another dimension. Sessions heard it return, he thinks.
What about the doors on the western side of this chamber?
I don't think we looked through those.
Shall we look?
Which chamber?
The silent
gallery.
gallery with the black pudding.
But it's entirely academic, because you haven't gone through the first set of doors into the chamber with all the stuff in it. Is somebody going to open the door?
Yeah, okay, I'll open the door into this silent gallery which has the black pudding at the
Let's
bottom.
roll for initiative.
Johnny.
Low number.
Hooray.
Okay.
Actually, I wouldn't have done that.
16 sessions.
13 for purple.
Bugraft.
4.
Alessandra.
10.
Parker, what'd you get?
11.
Buggy, you open the door. The room is still lit by this strange light from these strange chandeliers. This large black sphere is still hanging between them. But the moment you open the door, this great pseudopod of black ooze snakes up from the floor below. Sessions on 16.
I see the pseudopod, do I?
You see the pseudopod.
I can see all of my friends, so I summon the spirit guardians immediately.
Okay, fine.
I will also step forward 5 feet.
Towards the room.
Yes. So I'll step past Burple and Alessandra, so a little bit closer so that the spirit guardians lick their way into the room, providing a shield for the guys at the front.
Boople Hoopish on 13. do you want to do, Booble Hoopish? Are you still concentrating on the wall of force, by the way?
No.
Okay.
This lightning comes up the corridor behind us.
Yeah. The moment you stop concentrating.
Homing lightning.
Can I see this pseudopod?
Yeah, you can. These pseudopods are rearing up, swaying, looking predatory.
I'm tempted to burn my other 5th level spell.
I mean, nothing would make me happier.
Would it?
Are we trying to fight this thing, or just is it necessary to fight this thing?
I think it would clear out the room, yes. Oh, sod it. I'm going to do Synaptic Static.
Synaptic Static.
Yes, which is an intelligence save DC 15.
Intelligence save.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I'm taking a wild guess here, but I suspect that this thing's intelligence save is not award-winning. Getting a... hold up. 16. Let me just double
Intelligence
check
minus
that
2.
No, it fails.
It fails.
Oh my god.
Marvellous. Okay,
Oh my god.
it takes... I'm going to burn a what's it as well.
Bloody hell.
So that's 35 points of damage.
Nice.
And the target has muddled thoughts for 1 minute. During that time, it rolls a d6 and subtracts the number rolled from all its attack rolls and ability checks, as well as Constitution saving throws to maintain concentration.
What can I tell you about what effect you've had on it?
None.
Well, no, you have. You have.
Just not. Is it resistant to psychic damage?
I mean, how do you tell? Right. The whole thing is just mechanical. But let's just briefly imagine that this whole game is meant to evoke and convey a set of fantasy ideas and tropes and adventure. How do I describe the effect of psychic damage, right, on an ooze?
Yeah.
It looks unhappy. Maybe it sags a little.
It's feeling a bit dark.
Right. Maybe it's size. Maybe
it ripples less energetically.
Yeah, there's a bit of a sort of... Right. Packer on 11.
How far away is it from me?
The pseudopods.
Yeah.
It's 5 foot to the railing of the gallery.
Yeah.
And probably another 5 to 10 feet
What,
out
so
into the middle of the
15 feet?
chamber. Yes, but they are protruding from the floor, which is 15 foot below you. Oh, but you've got...
Yes, but I've got 15-foot range.
Just when I thought
Yes.
we wouldn't have to endure.
No.
The sooner we start, the sooner it's over and done with. It's like visiting the dentist.
That's... This won't take long.
You may feel a mild discomfort.
Except it will.
A 9,
No.
a 14,
That's a hit.
7 points of fire damage.
Yep.
20, that's another 6
That's a
points
hit,
of fire
obviously.
damage.
Yes.
Then a 22 is also hit for 8 points of fire damage. And while I'm about it, it can
Yes,
take
yep, keep going,
another
yep.
6 points of damage.
Okay, yeah.
That's there you go.
Rather like a man trying to empty a swimming pool with a teaspoon. Parker has...
Well,
yes, you
27 points of damage.
feel... Yeah. 27 points of
Oh, yes.
unhappy. Oh, yes.
Oh yes, there
Throw
it
him
is.
to the floor.
A little bit of damage every time.
Baby, it's time for your turn. Someday, far away, you will cheer up, you grumpy fucker.
Go on, Sandra.
Completely finished. Where I am standing at the corner of the corridor, I am Dan, aren't I? I can't see it, it can't see me. What I'm trying to do, and I might need some guidance on this, I'm trying to get myself in a position where I'm attacking from a hidden position. And I've been checking out the hiding rules, and it's very unclear.
Yeah, A, they're awful. B, don't bother.
Really?
Because this thing doesn't have eyes, right?
Yeah.
You don't have any sense, Sandy, that this thing depends upon any kind of visual stimulus to know where you are.
So
It doesn't mean that it knows where you are. I'm just saying
I'd
that...
like to try and find a position where I can hide from it and then attack it.
Right.
So how do I do that mechanically?
I tell you what, give me a straight intelligence check.
Straight intelligence check.
Well, we don't have these monster knowledge dungeoneering skills in 5th edition.
No.
Something which I think is
No.
a...
It's just we can
Sorry,
end the conversation.
before
Sorry,
Paul
what?
actually does anything, can I actually make a move on my round?
Oh.
Well,
Picky.
this is most irregular. Fine.
We'll have to put it to
we
the
sang
committee.
the song. We've taken the piss out of the name. We've had a going nowhere discussion about something that Paul thinks is relevant and isn't relevant.
Not relevant or
Yeah.
relevant. Just.
And I'm just fucking with you, Paul. Well, what? Yeah, sure, fine. Yeah.
I am going to move round the gallery to the far doors on the
west side.
West side.
West side.
So I must be about 20 foot away from it at that point.
Some of it, most of it, yeah. Let's return to Sandy.
Alessandra's going to move up the corridor, standing 5 foot back from the entrance to the gallery.
The result of your intelligence check, Alessandra, was you're not quite sure how this thing senses. So you don't know quite what you'd have to do in order to hide from it, because clearly...
If it can sense me through being something else other than sight, hiding is impossible.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And you don't know any better because of your 2.
Okay. I will move up to 5 foot back from the entrance to the room, and can I see it?
Yes, these 2 pseudopods are swaying aggressively.
Marvellous.
In your view, yep.
In which case, I'll just take a longbow attack at it. Hitting plus 27.
It is a hit, obviously it's a hit, yeah.
Doing 7 points of damage.
Your arrow goes into it.
And that is my row. Can't do anything else.
This thing, I mean, it looks like it's actually taken quite a bit of damage, albeit psychic damage and fire damage and your little arrow thing that was going on there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like it's in terrible trouble. Right. It moves. It heads south towards you all, and then it clambers up into the corner so that it can reach Parker and Buggy. Taking a D6 off these numbers, is that right, Bonds?
Yes.
First attack on Buggy. Don't think we need to worry about that. Rolls 2, and on Parker.
Does it...
It rolls a 10, it's going to miss Parker.
When it strikes at Buggy, doesn't it enter the Spirit Guardians?
I don't know. If you have somebody who is in the Spirit Guardians, and Parker punches somebody protected by Spirit Guardians, does Parker take Spirit Guardian damage? It's lashing out with pseudopods. They're basically fists.
Yeah.
It's not as straightforward as it moving into a space.
Enters the area for the first time on its turn, or starts its turn there.
It's not entered the area.
Some of it has, surely. It's got to travel through 5 foot of the Spirit Guardians to get to Buggy.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I will find in your favour, but I think there's more to it than this. I think I would say that we would peer very closely at the word move.
Doesn't say move, it says enters.
Okay, sort of the same thing, I suppose. You don't enter a room when you put your hand across the threshold of the door. It doesn't matter, because it's all... Obviously, I'm going to rule in your favour. I suspect it's such a corner case that we're never going to come back to it.
So,
but
wait a minute.
Anyway.
You're saying you don't enter a room when you put your hand through the threshold of a door. What part of your body has to enter the room then?
I'd love to have this discussion, but I think dear readers, I'm sorry, we're not going to get into this.
But the base of the creature is not in the Spirit Guardians. That's what I would say.
Not necessarily deliberately, but it is left slightly ambiguous, and we could get into it, but we don't need to, because I'm going to find in your favour. The pseudopod, when it enters the area of the Spirit Guardians, it makes its saving throw.
Wisdom DC 16.
It has to make it, well, it fails the saving throw. How much damage is it?
14 points of radiance, sir.
Radiant, sir?
Radiant.
It may have learned a little bit of a lesson there, or, more likely, it sends me a strongly worded email about my interpretation of the rule.
I suppose the analogy would be, if that area was a fire,
Yes.
a raging fire, by putting your hand in the fire, are you affected by the fire, or...
You're preaching to the choir, Graham. I understand the point about interacting with something which is dangerous, but at a certain point, you have to adjudicate using the terms that the rules gives you. But let's not get into it, because I found in your favour.
Yes. Yeah. I was just offering...
What's annoying you is that I've said I found in your favour, but that I haven't said that I agree with you and you're right.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to get into that. We're going to find in your favour, because I'm friend guide storyteller. And then we'll have a think about it another time, but we're not going to slow
it's
well, we already have slowed
Johnsonism,
everything
isn't
down
it?
enough.
Lucas, does Parker attack with his hands?
Well, precisely. I mean, it just gets complicated. There's a danger that we get into all sorts of things. Let's not get into it.
Yeah,
right.
unarmed strikes,
We're done with him. Uncle Buggy on 4.
Uncle Buggy.
I'm so sorry. Uncle Buggy.
Uncle Buggy. Do you think lightning damage affects it, anybody? Hello?
Something. There's something
Silence
that's
of a
not
group of
good
people
for-
who have just got in the backs of their minds.
That one of these creatures gets Yeah, we
Don't
don't
they
know.
split? Or
Yeah.
One.
Or do they get
Sorry,
pounds?
thunder damage. Did I say
You did
lightning?
say
I mean thunder damage. Okay.
I think thunder. You're probably
Thunder
okay.
sounds pretty good. I mean,
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm going to do
bludgeoning
a
sounds
shatter
good to
spell at 3rd level. I'm going to use my Wrath of Storm to maximize the damage, so he takes 32 points of thunder damage, Constitution save to half.
That's
Okay.
good.
I suspect it's got a decent constitution
Gross.
save. It has got a very
Bruce, you're
good
not even a
constitution
primary
save.
spellcaster. You shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Yeah, I'm a claw cleric.
You're a claw.
You're a claw. You're a claw.
You're the
I'm a
second
core
cleric,
class.
aren't you?
Cleric
Yeah.
is a core class.
This is
A core
undignified.
spell using
What's the
class.
DC of the saving throw?
14.
Rolls an 18. Am I taking D6 off saves? What's the deal?
It's a D6 off attack rolls and ability checks, as well as its Constitution saving throws.
You made
Oh,
that
sorry,
up,
as well as its Constitution saving throws to maintain concentration, I should say.
but not its
The
constitution saving
target can
throws.
make an intelligence
in
saving
general.
throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success.
Yeah, well, I forgot to do that, so
Yeah,
that's
I
on
should
me.
have mentioned that before, maybe.
Yeah, I should have
Yeah.
remembered. It doesn't matter. It's got so many hit points. None of this stuff is going to make any difference. It saves, Buggy.
It takes half of 32.
Fine. It wobbles.
It's not sort of
Unhappily.
inorganic material, is it? I guess it's sort of organic, isn't it?
Where are we going with this?
Well, he gets disadvantage if he's made of inorganic material.
Oh, I see. I think it's a living thing.
Okay, and then if I step back away from it, am I going to get attack of opportunity, do I think?
It depends on how much it liked that damage from the Spirit Guardians.
Ah,
Again, we're bumping up against the rule.
so every time you attack, you have to take
Well,
damage.
no, but we're not going to get into it now. I found it in your favour, but there are
No,
holes all over this. There's
Well,
more
no,
holes
it
in
wouldn't,
this than a
Mike, though.
Swiss cheese.
First time it enters in its turn. It's not every time it enters.
Right.
Oh, that's all right then.
You only damage it once around.
The logic being that it was reaching into the area to cause damage with its fist. It takes damage,
Mhm.
but it doesn't take damage if it does exactly the same thing as a reaction in somebody else's turn.
Yeah, it's the weird.
Things start to sort of unravel at that point. Let's not peer too intently at it and just push on. You suspect it would get an attack of opportunity on you, Buggy. Yeah. It's leafing through its player's handbook as we speak, and the subreddit around
It
Spirit
dissolves
Guardians.
armor, doesn't it? It's going to eat my magic armor.
Yes, because
I
that's
do.
what it's. Remember what it's been doing to my arrows.
Right, so I'm going to move back.
Okay, well, it is going to swing at you and take a d6 off this. Ooh, gets an 18. What do I take off? 3, 15, and 22.
Yeah.
First of all,
Dead,
uh,
but not forgotten.
it does the following damage. Wow. No, don't worry. No. Wow, as in that's less than I was expecting. 9 points of acid damage.
Mhm.
Are you wearing armor?
I am wearing +2 plate. Half plate.
Not anymore.
You're fine.
I can't remember if it doesn't affect magical armor.
Always nice to hear the rest of the party
Does it feel like it's dissolving my magical armor?
wholeheartedly fall in behind. What?
Does it feel like it's sort of dissolving my magical armor, or it didn't really affect my magical armor?
You think that the magic of your armor is protecting it from being dissolved.
Ah, okay. All right.
On we push with this exciting combat, which I personally am tiring of, with sessions on 16.
Wow, yeah. I think Sessions will summon the crushing coin.
You can see its pseudopods rearing up, I suppose. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bash with the crushing coin. Ooh, armor class 26.
A palpable hit. It's force damage, right?
5 points of force
radiant
damage. And I think I will just step
Well, I mean, you can't really tell if that made any difference.
step back to next
Dress
to
it up.
purple.
Okay.
Not quite sure how Buggy's ended up at the back of the party. I'm looking round as I'm doing that and just shaking my head in disbelief.
Oh, it's okay. I'll be at the front in a bit. I'm just regrouping.
Just
There you
coming.
go. Just
Be there in a minute.
Purple on 13. Boople de hoop.
Basically, strategically, at the front of the
Front of the back.
the front of the pack.
The
Back
upper
of the
front.
front.
Yes,
front
his normal
going in
front.
the
Back
opposite
of the front.
direction.
Yes, his normal front.
No.
I would like a saving throw from the creature, please. dexterity save, DC 15.
Again, I suspect that its dexterity save is not award-winning. It is not award-winning. DC what? Where? How? Where?
15.
What? Anyway, failed. What happens?
Fairy fire.
Oh, lovely.
Snore.
And I shall take 5 foot
Concentration?
step. It is concentration, yes. Back to Buggy, and I will shake my head in his face.
Yeah.
You have
In
to
a
bend
very-
down quite
and I
far
will
to do
go
that.
tut 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 in a
That's
very
not very
disappointed
nice.
way.
Barker on 11.
Well, I will just bash it. Using
your-
the,
with your
the
flamey
fangs, the flamey
prongs.
fangs.
With the flamey
so-
fangs.
Flamey Fangs.
Flamey
Flamey
fangs.
fangs.
So 10 is a
Ladies and
miss,
gentlemen,
right? 10,
will you give a warm, Hartlepool welcome?
10 is a miss.
Yeah, that's a miss. Yeah, of course.
Okay, and
No,
that's
bugger.
24 must be a hit, so that's 4 points.
Yes. I don't like this rolling the damage together, but okay. 4 points, of course. You
9
can't tell.
is a
Yeah.
miss.
9 is a miss, yes.
9 is a miss.
21 is a hit, that's 6 points.
21 is a hit.
And
Yeah,
it can take another
Can it?
10 d10 with a 1. Oh, God.
10d10, that would be impressive.
So that was
1.
4, 6, 11 points of damage in total.
Well, I mean, again,
Yeah, not
I'm trying to
great.
be. I'm trying to be positive. I feel like a primary school teacher. Well done, everybody. But it's. I
Everybody
mean, you
gets a
can't really
medal.
tell. It's just this giant wobbly blob of ooze that you're picking away at with all your stuff, and you can't really tell whether or not you're causing it any real trouble.
Did you roll a...
Anything else, Parker? Before I move
No.
on, you sure?
Yes.
Sorry,
No, like, oh, do you mind if
do
I?
you mind if I
Okay.
just... did you roll at advantage at all?
No, should I have done?
Yes.
Very fine.
Fairy fire.
Oh, I didn't know about the fairy fire.
That's
I
what...
mean, that's because you don't listen
Fuck's
to my
sake.
rounds. Every one of my rounds is
I-
gold. Pure gold.
If that was the case, then I get 2 more rolls
You do.
at advantage.
Yeah.
All right, go on then. That's a hit. That's another 7. That's a
Yeah.
19. That's another 4. So another 11 points.
And we move on
Thank
to Sandy. Your round.
Do I need to move up further to be able to see the thing, or...
I think you can see the pseudopods. I'm saying.
All right, longbow attack, then... Hitting... Well, I don't need to attack again. I suppose I could see if I... Armor class 27.
There's no point in you getting a critical if you're not going to gumble.
Not going to
So-
gamble. Not going to...
We're going to have to think about gumble because we're not doing it anymore. But nobody ever gumbles.
All right.
Sessions always gamble.
Nobody ever gets a bloody 20. That's why.
So,
Anyway, I think we should get Talabir in to do the job. If we anyway, I'd rather miss Talabir.
11 points of damage, but because I'm firing at advantage, I also get sneak attack. So that's 29 points of damage. And then I'm going to step back behind Buggy, and I'm just going to look at him and shake my head. Go, oh, God.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's an interesting thing to you to have done because when you step round there from down the slope,
scuttles the spider.
you hear.
It has always seemed self-evident to myself. It's self-evidential concepts are evidenced by resident elves, or at least by resident elves, those which chime and thrum with the energy of the first chord struck on the first day of the tuned strings of the first web, a resonant sound still in my 8-lobed mind. Or is that tinnitus? In any case, it is of a pitch too high for mortals to perceive or receive or deceive. Eyes before ears except after C, and eyes before ears except after B's, which are damnably stripy at the best of times, and I think we would all be much better off without them. Thank you! And the spider scuttles out of the dark funnel web and attacks, and we'll find out how much trouble you're in as Spidey joins the fight when we pick things up next week.
So I was at the front after all. I knew that.
More through luck than judgment. No, I knew.
The Billowing Hilltop podcast is a Billowing Hilltop production. Dungeons & Dragons is a trademark of Wizards of the Coast. A Gathering of Winds and Age of Worms are copyright Paizo. A Gathering of Winds was written by Wolfgang Bauer. Music is from Kevin MacLeod and Incompetech.com and is used with thanks under the Creative Commons license. Additional music and sound effects come from the wonderful Sirenscape. All other original material is copyright Billowing Hilltop. Role-playing games are all about getting people together, and we use Roll20 as our tabletop, the perfect place to host your game, and Discord to host our chat. Thanks for listening.
In a world headed for disaster, 5 strangers with mysterious pasts are thrown together by the winds of fate to try to stop the unseen forces that threaten to destroy their world. Join Craval, a dragonborn with no memory and no past, who is the first of the barbarians of the mountains to be seen in 1,000 years. Cotter, a penniless paladin, running from something or someone in his past. No one, the only tiefling monk the kingdom has ever seen, who has been expelled from his monastery for reasons he has not revealed. Adri, his monastic companion, who hides some deep dark secret she cannot reveal. And Arlen, once a simple farmer, until some mysterious event manifested sorceress powers in him. They must travel the length and breadth of the kingdom of Faroe, searching for the disparate clues that will help them unravel the mystery of the failing of their land, while trying to hold together the unraveling threads of society's weave, threatening to come apart at any moment. They will have to battle nature, plague, politics, and even the forces of the underworld as they attempt to discover and defeat whoever, or whatever, is attempting to poison their world and throw it into chaos. Relic of the Past is a novel-length story told via a clean, custom, 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons game. Find us on iTunes, Google Play, or wherever fine podcasts are found, and at poolmedia.podbean.com.